Jim and I have been working together on this for probably way longer than we really want to, but it's really coming together now. We're really getting some serious traction, and we're very excited because a number of Rotary clubs throughout the district have actually shown some interest in what we're doing. One of the things that I think is would be very helpful for you is there's a lot of Rotary history that goes into Fort Edmonton, and I thought it would be interesting if I show you this video. It's about 11 minutes. Through the money that we've been able to raise so far, by the way, we've raised through Rotary clubs about $110,000, and it's part of the funds that have been used to create this video and some of the other marketing materials that we're using to really drive the project at this point. So I think we'll show you the video. It'll give you a good overview of what Fort Edmonton is really all about, and then I'm sure you're going to have some terrific questions.
In 1795, the Hudson's Bay Company established a major fur trading post along the North Saskatchewan River and named it Edmonton House. It would be renamed Fort Edmonton and relocated several times over the ensuing years. Then, in the shadow of the recently completed Alberta legislature, and having outlived its useful purpose, it was dismantled in 1914 for the last time. Between 1914 and 1966, the city of Edmonton's population would grow from 72,000 to over 381,000. By then, Canada had survived 2 world wars, and in 1966 was on the eve of its 100th birthday. That year, on the occasion of the club's 50th anniversary, Mr. Sam Dixon, chairman of the original organizing committee in 1916, suggested rather passionately that the club do something to establish a memorial of Fort Edmonton.
Various people in the club were talking about it, and people like Archie Dixon and Sam Dixon, when he was still around, they were keen on seeing something developed in whether it was called Fort Edmonton Park or whatever it was called at the time. But they recognized there was a need for this kind of a project.
After years of trying to generate interest, Sam was convinced that this was the perfect time to finally establish a Fort Edmonton memorial. His ace in the hole was a well-respected Edmontonian, businessman, and Rotarian, then club president Merrill Edwin Wolfe.
He was a terrific leader. He made the idea very attractive to all of us, and so we all got behind it and we supported it.
He seemed to know where he was going and what he wanted to get done.
Well, he was a car salesman. He knew how to sell an item or an idea, so he did a good job.
Merrill Wolfe may have been the face of the Rotary Club's effort, but he certainly wasn't alone. Under his leadership, many people, including Rotarians and others, unselfishly contributed their knowledge and hard-earned money to ensure that Sam Dixon's dream of Fort Edmonton Park would be realized.
There were a lot of movers and shakers that were in Edmonton that were members of the Downtown Rotary Club at the time, and they could get things done if you wanted to have something happen.
They had some powerful guys. You got to remember that Rotary was all the major business people. If they didn't do the work themselves, they knew how to get it done.
Fort Edmonton Park was a great idea, but ideas can sit for a long time, and it does take that person to come and say, okay, now we've got the idea, let's get it done. And the credit goes to those guys who said, let's get it built.
It wasn't about, can we get it done? It's, we're going to do it. And they did.
50 years ago, Fort Edmonton Park was but a dream. One Rotarian's wish to share his pride of a young city and its proud and strong people. The park today is an historically authentic living museum that reminds its citizens that dreams do indeed come true.
When this project came up, there was all the excitement to build it, and there was the money to build it because things were growing and because people were enthusiastic, and they sort of seemed to realize that they either did it in this moment or the moment would pass.
The determination was made early on to try to do things as authentically as possible. So get a bunch of men together. There were axemen from Germany who were involved in the project. There's a fellow from Métis colony in northern Alberta who came down to run the horses. And they moved everything, the timbers by a horse team. They were using block and tackle to raise walls. It was a really strong commitment to trying to do it the right way.
Rotary's strong commitment to community service established the identity of Fort Edmonton Park. Over the years, several Edmonton Rotary clubs have undertaken various significant projects within the park, both large and small.
The wonderful thing that Fort Edmonton Park offered people is a chance to participate in the history. The wonderful thing about the Rotary Club's Harvest Fair was that here was a history that many people had some connection to that they could go and then participate in at the fort.
On the prairies, there's such a movement of people from other places and other cultures, and unless we show them where we came from, it's very hard to feel any attachment to a place, I think.
Community is the central theme of Fort Edmonton Park, and how a group of people in an unlikely place can make a million-person city in little more than 100 and some odd years. It's an extraordinary story, and Fort Edmonton Park can help you to understand something which we may take for granted, but is really a very vitally important story to understand.
Fort Edmonton Park would not exist as it is today without Rotary's initiative and leadership.
The Selkirk Hotel on the 101st Street and Jasper Avenue corner was originally called the Windsor Hotel when it was first built. And then the business building that was built next to it was known as the Windsor Block. When the Windsor Hotel became the Selkirk Hotel, the Windsor Block remained the Windsor Block.
The Windsor Block is an exciting new component to Fort Edmonton Park, our next major project that we're looking at doing down here.
The Windsor Block is to be constructed on 1920 Street, completing the block between the Selkirk Hotel and the Capitol Theatre. It will not only fill the hole between two existing buildings, but it will also fill the need for a mid-sized dining facility to host groups of up to 250 people.
If you have a better facility, you're going to attract more people. You're going to be able to have more events there. It ties in with the theater, which accommodates 250 people. There's really no other place that you can go at the park right now and have a formal sit-down dinner when you could tie in the facilities of the theater with that as well. So from a business case standpoint, it makes total sense.
We're looking at that redevelopment of the entire 1920s area of being a retail dining and entertainment zone where we'll have lots of opportunities for people to be able to come down and stay, enjoy restaurants, enjoy clubs and stuff like that, to be able to really see what vibrant Edmonton was like back in the 1920s.
I think as Rotarians, it's not only an opportunity, but it's a responsibility that we have to maintain that connection and to be a big part and fabric of Fort Edmonton.
We're fortunate enough within our board of directors to have a member, Jeff Polovic, that's involved with Rotary, that saw a need and a desire to get Rotary back involved at Fort Edmonton Park.
When Jeff Polovic initially met with Gord Deeks and I to share his thoughts about creating something at Fort Edmonton, it took about 2 seconds for me to say. It was just a no-brainer. To me, it was really important that all the clubs came up with a concept and an idea and a project together that we could collaborate on and, quite frankly, become better Rotarians and do something better for our community than just one club could do.
I'm hoping that the opening of this can coincide with maybe more of a larger celebration of the 100 years of Rotary being in Edmonton. So that's where I'm very excited about this, and I'm actually hoping that the district will want to, in fact, have their office there, because it'd be natural, a natural place to happen.
It does open up a new page on Rotary's involvement at the fort.
Fort Edmonton Park is a legacy. This is something that's for all Edmontonians. And this is something that, again, having that presence here, having Rotary involved, just shows how important Fort Edmonton Park is to the community.
And I think Rotary, by being involved there,
again more, which I hope is the case, will light a little fire under it and make Fort Edmonton a place that people from around the world will want to come and see. Yeah, it's just a great project.
Rotarians just want to be the vehicle that delivers this particular project to the city and to the park. And we think that's how we're going to make a difference here.
It's such a great concept that was a far-fetched dream at one time.
Was 50 years ago when Rotarians were instigating, coming up with this concept of creating Fort Edmonton. It's now Rotarians again in this district who are realizing that it's time again to really get reconnected. It wasn't just one club back in the 60s, it was 4 clubs that came together at the time and were instrumental in getting it done. And now we really believe that it's really important that all the clubs in the district, and certainly in the whole surrounding Edmonton area, come together and create something that's really important. Fort Edmonton has sort of limped along for a number of years, but in the last 5 or 6 years, Jeff's been a part of the management committee that have come up with a really great master plan and are really creating a lot of ways to do some really great things in the park. But I think it's Rotary, through our credibility and our ability to get projects going, can really be the instrument of change to really get things going. And this first project, the building between the expansion of the Selkirk Hotel, the Windsor block, in between the Selkirk Hotel and the Capitol Theatre, that is really the linchpin, the foundation, the cornerstone of some really much larger activities in the park that will create really a world-class facility that will be second to none and really amazing place that people all around the world will continue to want to come to. And I know, as I heard earlier, when Jeff initially approached a few of us, it really seemed like it's time to do it. And so it was 50 years ago that Fort Edmonton was started, and it's going to be Rotary 100th birthday in this district coming up in 2016. So we think the timing is just perfect. We've been working at this around the edges and in the middle for a couple of years now. Our lane has been a big part of the committee that we've had over the last couple of years, and has had about another 20 clubs in the Edmonton area in this district. We're really at the stage now where lots of background work has been done. We're ready to start getting committees going for fundraising exercises and starting to get some funding done. And I know Jeff will have some more to say about that too. But we're really excited about this, and really believe it's going to be a great project for lots of Rotarians in this district to work together on. And it's not to supplant or replace other projects that each club are doing, but rather we're hopeful that we'll come up with other ideas that we can all work together on to create new fundraising concepts and plans, so that it's yes, we will be asking for some money from each club, but not to I guess bite in too much to what you're already doing, because we all have projects that we're all working on and have been a part of the fabric of each of our clubs. But this is something over and above that we can do together.
I think one of the things as we've gone to different clubs and shared this video with them, most clubs are surprised throughout the district that actually Rotary played such a big part in the formation of Fort Edmonton Park as well. And it comes as a surprise because you're saying, well, Rotary really helped create this vision. So if you want to talk about community service, I can't think of a better example of a community service project that really provides legacy for Rotary. And when I first came on the board of the Fort Edmonton Management Company, I felt here's an opportunity for us as Rotarians to really bring back the emphasis that Rotary really created in having this dream built in Edmonton as well. So I appreciate that you're in Spruce Grove, but I mean, all of us are in the greater Edmonton area, and we all have an opportunity of sharing and enjoying all of the facilities within the greater Edmonton region. The only thing that I felt was important was that it had to be something that was a significant project for Rotary. It had to be something that was visual, so we really wanted on that building, on that addition, part of the things that Jim and I have said to the Fort Edmonton management people as well, saying one of the things that has to happen is there has to be a Rotary wheel on that building, because there's no point in spending any effort and time unless we get a visual of what Rotary really did, because there's very few visuals around that park that really give it the emphasis that we need. So the visual was really important. And the other thing that it had to be is it had to be provide a legacy as well. And so the fact that it's the extension to the hotel, that extension to the hotel can do so many more things to promote the park as well. There just aren't enough hotel rooms the way it is right now. So this building will provide more hotel rooms. It'll provide the dining facility for 250. The Rotary District has been working with us to look at moving their office there as well, and we're trying to accommodate all of their needs. And it's a great meeting place, so I mean, what better place than to have it at Fort Edmonton? But part and parcel of the bigger picture of what's in store for Fort Edmonton is that over the next 10 years, the plan was to really to raise over $100 million to really develop that park. That park consists of 160 acres, and there's still many parts of the park that are available to be developed. And Lewis Cardinal has been very instrumental in working on developing an Aboriginal component to that park as well. And we've got a number of ministers who are very excited, although if you listen to Alison Redford, maybe there isn't a lot of money right now, but we're looking at a longer term picture on this thing, and those types of things, whether it's Aboriginal affairs or cultural, feel that this is another way that they can contribute. Alberta Tourism is also involved in coming up with a way of putting money into this project as well. We thought initially that when we started on this particular building that it was going to be around a $5 million project. It has since changed somewhat in its scope, and the requirement of the park is requiring even more square footage than what we had originally planned on. So we're probably looking at between a $10 and a $15 million bill by the time you add the extension. Now, Rotarians aren't going to raise that total amount of money, but Rotarians can certainly influence a number of other people who do have the money to be able to, to support that project as well. But I am actually going to take more of a role in the foundation. There's two parts to the park: the foundation, which is the money raising, and then of course the Edmonton Management Company. I'm still on the Fort Edmonton Management Board, and I'm also going to be the liaison with the foundation and looking at some of the significant donors that are interested in supporting it, such as some of the lending institutions that would be very interested in supporting this a project like this as well. This is a great community project, and I just don't want Rotary to be lost in the development of this as well, because Rotary, as you can see from the video, is a huge part of why that park exists today. So one of the things that is happening on the 11th of May, I'll let you maybe share about that, what's going to happen, and you're all welcome to come to that.
I'm sure you probably heard that on the 11th of May, current Rotary International president is going to be here. And that's never happened, I don't think, for a long, long time. So we're really blessed and fortunate. So Kevin Hilgers, bless his heart, thought it would be a great idea to try and work the president's, I guess he has a fondness for really getting active and getting his hands dirty and cleaning up streets and helping communities. So we're going to go to Fort Edmonton, and he'll be a part of helping clean up Fort Edmonton for the morning. We'll have some other things. It'll be a bit of a barbecue and a fun afternoon. That will precede some other more formal kinds of events that evening. But it's going to be a great day at Fort Edmonton for Rotarians, a chance for new membership opportunities. We can get some other folks who might want to learn about Rotary and Fort Edmonton all at the same time and about the project. So it's going to be a great day in May for all of us to get together and have a good time, help clean up, and learn a little bit more about this project and our president as well.
This is probably an opportunity now for you to ask us some questions. I know we gave you just a pretty quick thumbnail of what we're doing, but please ask any questions you can, and Jim and I will try to answer them as best we can. John?
Jeff, I really like the idea of having this building ready to commission in for the 100th anniversary, which is 2016.
Right.
That means you've got to start pretty soon. So what's your timeline on beginning construction?
Well, we have construction really, if you want to finish this thing in the spring of 2016, which is really the goal, you have to be in the ground in the spring of 2015. I mean, it's going to take a year, maybe not that long, but to me, that would be the very best time to shoot as far as the target is concerned. There are a number of meetings that are set up at this point through Doug Goss, who's the chair, used to be the chair of the foundation, is now chair of the management company. Doug is very well connected in many of the different circles that are very familiar with fundraising, and he and I actually have a meeting on Monday with the cultural minister and the Aboriginal Affairs, whoever's looking after that ministry as well, to talk about the bigger picture as far as what we can do. What I was afraid of is that as we were working on moving forward, we're still going to work with the different Rotary clubs and look for support. We also want to have a large fundraising event that will be unique and different. Some experiences that you wouldn't get anywhere else if you weren't involved with Fort Edmonton. We're going to do some of that. But we really need to move forward now with the fundraising on many different levels. But what I was concerned about was that we might be stepping on each other's toes with the foundation if we, as a Rotary Club, would. So that's why I'm involved in the foundation now, to make sure that we don't preempt the opportunity. Like the one living institution, for example, was committed $250,000 to our project. Well, you know, if we need $5 million, now it's 10. Then really, I don't want. And this financial institution probably has the ability to, you know, maybe donate $2 or $3 million over a 5-year period. So you don't want. We want to make absolutely sure that when we approach people for fundraising, we're doing it in the right way. And those are the kinds of things that we're working on.
When we started to gather some momentum with this project, and we started realizing it was not going to be a 5, but maybe a $10 or $15 million project, the foundation also was getting more excited and realized they were getting closer to wanting to realize their master plan, which would have meant raising some $100 million. And so as Rotary clubs creating Windsor block are asking for smaller asks, and the Fort Edmonton Foundation looking for larger asks, but still asking the same people. We wanted to make sure it was done together in a harmonious and collaborative fashion. So that's why we're taking a bit different approach right now. We need to get going on both fronts, on the larger picture, but also getting our Rotary area clubs organized and some, again, fundraising initiatives and whatnot. And starting to have a real project that's going to be going. It's not going to be as complicated as the arena, so we won't need to. We don't need to get it around.
Yes, and John, by April or May, we're going to have more of those details fleshed out as well.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yes, Fred.
What would you say you'd like our club to do today?
You can write a check, but I think that's probably the easy answer. You know, Marlene, you've been a great supporter of this project right from the very beginning. So I think as more of these plans are fleshed out, she'll be part of that. She'll be able to come to you and say, this is what the plans are right now. So today I will just tell you this though, that there have been a number of Rotarians who have individually come forward and donated anything from $1,000 to $30,000 who have put money into this particular project just because they want to. So there's no magic about that. We just appreciate anything that anybody can do. But as a club, we'll be coming back with other.
I also see us, I hope, maybe as ambassadors to it. Because there certainly has been the discussion that, oh, it's just Edmonton. Well, we're certainly close neighbors, but I see it totally, I've got family in Slave Lake, as a tourist destination, and I think for all our clubs right up to Dawson Creek, it can become a little home away from home if we have that presence at the park. And so until, you know, the ask for the money is certainly there in the background, but it is the time and just the excitement. Seeing it coming, I hadn't seen that, and that's just great. From the time of our last meeting, that's happened. And it started out, we were looking at a dock on the river, we were looking at you know, a number of things that maybe Rotary could get involved in, and so the group kind of narrowed it to this, and I just think it is so exciting. The first time I took grandkids to Fort Edmonton, they found the Rotary wheel. I was just new into Rotary, and they were so excited that they saw it. I hadn't even noticed it, so I had no knowledge of that connection, and I think for us to look at something, it isn't just Edmonton, Fort Edmonton, and our whole pioneer history has just wonderful linkages there.
This is the legacy component as well, because as clubs and individual Rotarians, this is going to allow us to actually do a better job of recruiting Rotarians as well. When you have such an incredible world-class example of what is possible for Rotary, I think it's going to be a great way for our clubs to be able to recruit new members.
I'm planning on having a bit of a Rotary walk in the expansion. So there'll be permanent exhibits of Rotary involvement either in Fort Edmonton and elsewhere. So it'll be, again, a reminder and a useful membership drive tool. But very few people actually realize that Fort Edmonton, next to West Edmonton Mall, is this region's largest tourist gatherer. It is. It brings lots of people. And so, again, the opportunity for all these folks to see Rotary in action is a great opportunity.
Yes?
I'm just a little confused. How are we just raising money just for the hotel, or it's $10 million for the hotel?
Yes. Yeah, the expansion to the hotel, depending on what other things are added to it, by the time you equip it and everything, it's that part of it is about a $10 to $15 million, depending on when it gets built and how costs escalated. And we're saying that it's at least $10 million. It could go as high as 15, but it's probably going to be somewhere between those two numbers.
So if you rode in the street in front, you'd see on one side the Capitol Theater, and you'd see the Selkirk Hotel in the corner, and then you'd see the facade of what we've referred to as Windsor Block. But behind that, inside, would be a large ballroom, where, as Jeff said, we could house 250 people in a sit-down meal. Other meeting rooms where people could use, hopefully a Rotary office, and on the second floor and third floor there would be rooms for additional rooms that would be connected right to the Selkirk Hotel.
For those of you who have been to the hotel before, they're very, very strapped for catering facilities as well. So part and parcel of this addition, and that's why the cost and the scope has changed, is they need additional catering facilities as well. So that's part of the plans on the expansion as well. Yes?
Jeff, at the end of the day, once the hotel is built and so on and so forth, who owns the hotel?
The way the whole Fort Edmonton structure is set up is that all of the assets belong to the City of Edmonton. Anything that's put into that park belongs to the City of Edmonton. They assume the responsibility of the maintenance and the care of that facility. Fort Edmonton Management Company was formed 3 years ago to actually run the park and move it away from the city actually running the park. So the way it is right now is there's a marketing director, there's a general manager, the hotel is run separately. Everything is run as an independent business. And the challenges for the management company, and I've been part of the finance committee on the management end of it as my role as a director. And one of the hardest things to have resolved is how do you extract exact numbers? Because you'd have a number of union employees, you'd have a number of different things happening at the park, and some of the employees would work at the zoo, some of them would work part-time at the zoo, part-time at Fort Edmonton, then they'd be off somewhere at a skating rink, somewhere doing something else. And it was really hard to track and keep tabs, if you like, of what people are doing, but also it was also hard to be able to capture the exact costs of what everything costs to run that park. So you're trying to make a business decision when you don't have the total information. Now I can tell you with confidence that 3 years later, we're at a point where we can really help make some real hard decisions about how things should be done to enhance the experience for people that are there. How do we give people better service? What are some of the things that the park needs? So it's working much, much better right now. And actually, this year, we're going to generate a surplus, which of course goes right back into the park to provide additional services as well.
So will Rotary be tied into that, like down the road, say that when the hotel is built and it does start making money, will Rotary get credit for that somehow, or will some of that money get channeled into what foundation the Rotary?
No, the visual and the legacy of this whole thing is really, it's a one-time contribution, if you like. You get the visual and you get the legacy of having Rotary's ability to use the facility as well at a discounted rate compared to other people within that want to use the facility as well, which is one of the things that we talked about up front as well, with Fort Edmonton making sure that the district would have preferential treatment in terms of booking and use of the space as well. So those are some of the paybacks to Rotary.
Thank you. Time for one more question. All right, well, Jim, thank you very much, and Jeff, thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
I know why